Alright guys, I'm going to start on top of Wingeria for this one. Because like I said, I'm not going to just be doing one at a time. I want to like switch between games and whatnot. Because if I just did one at a time, that wouldn't be as fun. Not only it wouldn't be as fun for me, but it also probably wouldn't be as fun for you guys. And yeah, I'm going to turn off the music. Because when I was watching my Wingeria one, I could barely hear myself talk. So I'll turn the music off, but I'll keep the sound on. I know some of you guys say you can hear me, but if I can't hear myself, I rather just try to solve that. So yeah, I'll be the chef as always, and then like this time I'll have Manton as my servant. Sorry if you hear any noise in the background. My dad's watching a race. He loves his sports. Alright, I think that's good. I'll leave the intro going, because why not? I like to play the intro when we're doing Let's Plays. That way everyone can see. All my viewers can see everything. Ooh, new Pepperton. I guess the beginning of the story takes place in New Pepperton before traveling to Starlight City. Oh, Papa Louie. Oh, boy. Scam artist. And I already know how to play, so I'm just skipping the tutorial. Plus, I can get the make him wait sticker. If I played the tutorial, I'd have to wait. So yeah, Green Ethan noticed that I was bringing news back, so that's good. I also re-uploaded some of his edits onto my channel so people can see it. Since he can't have a YouTube channel right now, I decided to keep him on my channel. He's okay with it. I can't give him specific credit because he doesn't want me mentioning his name in my titles, because he wants to be like safe and stuff, but yeah, those are his. Plus it says his name, and I'm saying, plus it says like his name in the beginning of the videos. I just don't want him. Sorry. He just doesn't want me mentioning his name in the titles of my videos because he wants to like play it safe. So that's why I just say credit to a friend instead of, credit to Green Ethan, because he just wants me to be as safe as possible about the whole situation. So yeah, it's good. We get some of the edits back, and we also get the Let's Plays back, so we're bringing back some of the glory stuff back. I'm also going to talk about something I feel very strongly about in this. Once we get a little bit more into this, it's gonna be the same thing I talked about in season 2 of episode 4 of season 2, episode 4 of Metopia. You know what I'm talking about if you remember that episode of Metopia and what I talked about. Speaking of, I may think about bringing Metopia back. I don't know if I'll do if I'll do 2 different seasons, but I am gonna try to bring it back, and I'm not gonna pick up where I left off because I have a new channel now. I'd rather just start it over. I may think about doing that. I'm not 100% sure though. I'm still thinking about it. Alright, we got all the upgrades. But yeah, it's just one of those uneventful Sundays. So I thought it would be a good time to just do a recording, kill some time. It still gives you tutorials even after you skip it. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. If my dad does play the drums while I'm recording this, hopefully it won't be too disruptive. Right now I think he's either watching a NASCAR race or playing video games. I also need to figure out how to set this recorder to do not disturb, because sometimes I'm worried I'll get text messages while I'm recording, which can be annoying and disruptive and even embarrassing. My mom likes to text me a lot, and she talks to me like I'm a little kid. And I always get paranoid that that's going to happen while I'm recording, and then everyone's gonna see how she talks to me, and it's gonna be embarrassing. Plus, it can just be disruptive, like while you're playing and like, you know, when people are watching for a text message to pop up. I know you can set it to do not disturb, but I still need to figure that out. Actually, no, let's actually place these in the actual grids rather than between them, because sometimes, you know, this isn't like all the time, it's only occasionally, but if you like place it on the lines, you may get a slight penalty for the build station. Thank you for the perfect score, Moose. Yeah, I know it isn't as interesting playing without the music, but I just want you guys to be able to hear me. Like I said, I know you guys say you can hear me, but if I can barely hear myself, then I don't expect a lot of you to hear me. It's strange, you know. I tried, like, even when I have, like, my phone down, like, it plays it as, like, it will play it as full volume. Like, once I, like, as in, like, you know, when I, like, as a video on YouTube or just as a video, but when I'm recording, it doesn't seem that bad. I don't get it. But yeah, I really hope I can figure out how to enable Do Not Disturb, so I don't have to worry about disruptions. I mean, I'll still get texts. Like, it'll still appear on my screen, I believe. But it won't, like, appear it on the screen when, like, you know, when I, like, as a recording, as, like, an actual video. On the actual video, if you know what I'm trying to say. In fact, I may do that after I'm done with this recording. Hopefully I can figure it out. It won't have to be so complicated and frustrating. We should get a special today. Sometimes I'm worried that, like, the fry station will drown out my voice, but I gotta keep the sound on so I can hear when the timers go off. Because even though you can, like, see them on screen, I'm not always paying attention. You know, I'm paying attention to other things. So I gotta be able to hear them so I don't overcook my wings. Yes, I know how to arrange these. You don't have to keep giving me tutorials, game. I said I wanted to skip the tutorials. Oh, okay, so Hope has the envelope. Alright. So yeah, the topic in question, the same one I talked about in that one Metopia episode, which was, the second season and, episode 4 of season 2. I talked about a bunch of things, actually. I mostly talked about, food. And I also talked about a little bit about what it was like to be on the spectrum, the autistic spectrum, or just similar stuff. Because it's something I feel very passionate about, it's something I could talk about for hours. Being on the spectrum, it's definitely a heck of a journey, as I'm sure a lot of you fellow neurodivergents on the spectrum would agree with me. I have a love-hate relationship. With being on the spectrum, because it can be hard, but it's something I also embrace at times. Sure, being on the spectrum comes with some difficulties. Especially when it comes to learning disabilities. Anxiety, overthinking, just certain mental problems and learning problems and social problems. But it can also be a good thing, It doesn't have to be all bad. It can also be a good thing. For example, people, it makes us unique in our own way. Now, don't get me wrong. Neurotypical people are unique in their own ways too, but people who are on the spectrum are unique in that particular way. Alright, this one is a bit challenging. Gotta concentrate. The soft station is the hardest station, actually. Sure, the customers can be picky on the build station, but a lot of the time-based stations can make me feel tense. But yeah. I'm sure a lot of you fellow, people who have like autism or Asperger's, I'm sure you guys can relate to what I'm saying, like especially when it comes to learning disabilities. That's a very big factor in autism and Asperger's. I know my friend Purple Ethan. I have two friends named Ethan. Hold on. And I'll just play one. I'll just play that one. I wasn't meaning to play this. I'll play others later. But yeah, I have two friends named Ethan. I call them Purple Ethan and Green Ethan. I used to call Purple Ethan MLP Ethan, but since Purple Ethan isn't as into MLP as he used to, we all agreed to call him Purple Ethan instead because, no offense to any of MLP fans watching this. I know Funny Guy 9000, he's a pretty big MLP fan. I'm not saying all MLP fans are like this, but a lot of them tend to go down the wrong path, and Purple Ethan was one of them. But so he's still into MLP. He still watches it, but he's not like a brony anymore. He just considers himself a casual fan. And since MLP kind of made him go down the wrong path almost, we decided to call him Purple Ethan instead. Plus, it's more consistent. We call Green Ethan by his favorite color, so I feel like it makes more sense to call the other Ethan by his favorite color, purple. So yeah, he also has autism, and he also has learning disabilities as well. So we can probably relate to each other on that. I know I can relate to him. I'm hoping he feels the same way about relating to me. I know one thing that he still doesn't know how to do is cook on the stove. And I'm definitely the same way, guys, because, cooking on the stove, it can seem a bit hard and even daunting. It can be hard to learn how to cook on the stove properly. Plus, I'm one of those people who's scared to cook on the stove. Especially because we have a gas stove, so it's like real fire we're dealing with, which can be very nerve-wracking. And yeah, Purple Ethan's the same way. He has learning disabilities as well, and he still needs to learn how to cook on the stove eventually. If he even decides to. If he doesn't decide to, that's okay, because there are alternatives. Because there are cooking appliances that I do feel comfortable using. I used the oven before. I've used it quite a bit when I was living with my uncle, but it's still nerve-wracking for me, especially because our oven is down low. You have to, bend over and... yeah. My uncle's oven is a lot easier because it's, leveled with my height, and but the problem with that I had is because of his oven mitts. His oven mitts had holes in them. But yeah, another thing that I'm scared to do and probably won't ever do is hire a maid. What? I'm thinking of something else that I might talk about. Driving. That's something else that I don't want to do. As for Purple Ethan, I'm not sure if he drives or not. I know he has an ID, but I don't know if that's just a regular ID or if that's a driver's license. I can't wait to get my ID eventually. Oh yeah, I know Steve, the weed is T96. He's another person that doesn't want to learn how to drive. It's very complicated. Driving, I don't have and plus I have no sense of direction either. Even like back when I was in school, like, when it was like the beginning of the year, like the first week, like it would take me a while to find my classes. If I can't even find my way through a school, then imagine how bad I am at navigating through the fucking world. But yeah, that's one thing. That's something I definitely relate to the Weedy C96 on. If he still feels that way. I don't know if he still feels that way or not. I think his friend Adrian, he drives, but as for Steve, as far as I know, he still doesn't. And like when he hangs out with Adrian, he's the one that drives. As for Purple Ethan, I'm not sure if he drives or will plan to drive. If not, then I don't blame him. If so, then good for him. Because there are ways, people do need to get around, but at the same time, there are alternatives like taking a bus, hiring a chauffeur, stuff like that. I don't want to always rely on my family to drive me around everywhere, So that's something I will be looking into. Something else that I have a hard time with is, keeping things clean and tidy. That's something else that I have a hard time doing. So, I'm thinking about hiring a maid to help with that. Speaking of cleanliness, I know Daniel Plotagon, he did a rant on neat freaks, and I agree with him. Neat freaks are annoying. I know it's good to, like, keep things clean and tidy, and, it makes it it's better to live in a clean environment, it's more relaxing. But at the same time, neat freaks need to understand that some people have a hard time with that, especially, people with, like, disabilities, people who have executive dysfunction. That's another factor with people on the spectrum. They have what is called executive dysfunction. I can't really explain it, but it makes it, it makes it hard to do certain things and, like, it's hard to, like, bring yourself to do stuff, and, like, it's hard to, like, do certain things, like, keep things organized, It's really hard to explain, but, like, it's characterized by, like, motivation, maybe certain, like, certain learning disabilities, play a part, People often confuse it with us being lazy. But, while like they are easily confused and, like, possibly similar, like, there's a difference between laziness and executive dysfunction. I'm not saying autistic people can't be lazy, but a lot of the times it's, like, executive dysfunction. But yeah, Daniel Polygon, he's another relatable as hell person. And I know him and Jaden Mayo are friends. They are both relatable in one particular way. Damn it. I hate how they sometimes make you get all of them. I can understand, like, you know, most of them, but they shouldn't make you get all of them. Like, maybe, like, 9 out of 10. There we go. I'm usually really good at this. It's just that, like, you know, I have to, like, multitask. I'm speaking and, like, discussing and, like, playing this game at the same time. You know, I'm glad Zolo isn't. I don't think Zolo's a closer anymore. No, he's not. We have Sandra instead. Because, oh my gosh, the freaking 5 or the 5 wing orders, like, you know, where they order 5 of an item and 5 of another item. Those orders are hard to master. Oh boy. Oh, alright, Manton time. And Manton is a male. He has, like, greenish teal hair. Ooh, yeah, that looks badass. And I'll eventually buy the horns. Because like I said, like, even though horns and wings are a part of my Orgia and Manton's anatomy, I'm going to have to just buy them as accessories for this. Because they don't, like, come with, like, you know, character customization. We get glasses. Why do we get glasses? Why can't we get other accessories? You know what I mean? Alright, that looks pretty cool. That'll do. But yeah, I do like the raised eyebrows. Hopefully we can even buy the wings and horns. It would be a shame if we couldn't. But yeah, you know how I was talking about how Jaden Mayo wants to eat McDonald's every day? And similar with Daniel Plotagon, he wants to eat McDonald's a lot as well. And I feel the same way. Now, I wouldn't literally eat it every day, because as much as I love McDonald's, you know, it's good to make some other restaurant and things in. But I definitely agree with them. I would have McDonald's a lot, just like Daniel and Jaden would. You know, something else I struggle with is, you know, of course, like I said at the beginning, is like social skills. You know, I'm not a very social person. I mean, I can be, like, if I'm, like, you know, like, if I find the right people, but for the most part, you know, I can be very introverted. Now, I do crave interaction, but at the same time, I like to spend a lot of the time a lot of my time alone, and it's really hard for me to start and keep up conversations, you know? Going back to my mom, that's something I wish she would understand. She sometimes complains, like, she complained to my dad a couple of times about this, and she complained to me about this one time. She claims that I don't talk to her very much. I get that, like, she's my mom and she just wants to talk to me, but at the same time, she needs to understand. How I am, You'd think she would understand how I am, being that she's my mom. She should be, like, one of the most understanding people in the world. Because she's my mom, she knows about, like, my condition and whatnot. But apparently not. My dad understands, but not so much my mom. Plus, it's normal for people to kind of drift away from their parents as they get older. They go on to have lives of their own and stuff. I'm not saying, kids, like, cut their parents out of their life, but most people are not as close with their parents as they were when they were, like, a kid. That's something else I wish people would understand. I mean this in the nicest of ways, but my mom can be a bit needy and high maintenance. Whereas, like, I'm the opposite, I can be, like, very independent, like, socially, I spend a lot of time just, like, doing my own thing, texting my friends on Discord. I'm very socially independent and, like, low maintenance, whereas, like, she's very high maintenance and needs to always be talking to someone. I am hoping that now that she lives with her mom in Houston, that, she won't be as needy towards me, since she'll have, like, her mom and her stepdad to talk to. Plus, I just don't always know what to talk about, that's another thing. There isn't really much going on in my life right now, so it's hard to, like, find stuff to talk to her about. I am trying to write a book, but it's a slow process because I still need to open a bank account for that money to go to somewhere. Plus, I'm still working on the book, but it's a progress because I want to take my time and I want to try to make it as in-depth as possible. So that is a process. I'm going to see what the store has. Do they have horns? Crap, they don't have horns. Bummer. I wonder if they have horns in the later games. They don't have wings either. Ugh. Wow. Hopefully they have them in the later games. We'll see. They have a kimono. I'm trying to figure out what will be a good jacket for Manton. I'm guessing this one will be a good jacket for him. I'm going to go ahead and just buy the Onion Fest versions of these items, though, because we're almost in Onion Fest. And it's a waste of money to buy, like, just the pre-holiday normal color stuff. Especially because I only have a couple $100. I mean, we still have a few days before summer, or not summer luau, Onion Fest, but I still like to be prepared. Plus, it will actually give us extra money if we, like, dress up as the same colors as the holiday. So technically, we'll get money back. I'll just put those on for now. In reality, Manton wears, like, a green and black jacket with black pants with holes in them and black and green shoes, but for the sake of Onion Fest, he's going to have a little bit of purple and not really any black. But yeah, hopefully we get wings and horns in the later games. I guess we'll see about that. But for now, they're just going to have to be humans. But yeah, one of the most comforting feelings, in my opinion, is being able to relate to people. You know, people who, feeling like, being reminded that you're not alone. And just, like, relating to certain stuff about people. That's something that's extremely comforting for me. For neurotypical people, that it may not be as big as a deal to them. Sure, it may be nice to be able to relate to someone. But for people like us, it's a huge deal. Because we often feel like we're alone, Sometimes we feel like we're alone. And that we're, like, the only ones to have a certain weakness and whatnot. So it's nice to be reminded that there are people who have those same weaknesses. I'm not saying I want people to, like, also have weaknesses. I mean, I kind of do because it gives me something to go, it gives me someone to go along the journey with. But at the same time, you know, I don't want people to, like, suffer too horribly. But it is nice to have, like, people to relate to. I know I used to feel alone on a lot of things. For example, when I would get yelled at, like, still now actually, when I get yelled at, I cry. When I get shushed, I get in a bad mood. You know, I used to feel alone on those types of things, but then I watch Steve's videos, you know, Blake's videos, you know, Dale's videos, etc. And I find out that they also feel the same way. So yeah, it's just a comforting feeling, like, having people to relate to. As for Green Ethan, he doesn't have autism, but he is seeing the signs of being neurodivergent in another way. I remember at first I thought he was neurotypical, or like him and I thought he was neurotypical, but that may not be the case. He may not have, like, autism, but, you know, autism is not the only thing that falls under the neurodivergent umbrella. There are a bunch of conditions that fall under it, like dyslexia, ADHD, you know, certain mental stuff. So yeah, it's not just autism, although that is, like, one of the main things. As for Ash, I believe he's neurotypical. I'm not sure. He does have some conditions that I don't want to get into for personal reasons, but I don't know if they're a part of the neurodivergent umbrella. I know he doesn't have autism. We can actually, we can relate on a lot of things as well. In fact, I think he actually relates to me on the getting yelled at and getting shushed stuff. You know, he used to feel alone on that as well. I used to feel alone. What am I saying anymore? You know, I used to feel alone on, like, you know, like I said, I used to feel alone when it comes to getting shushed and yelled at. But even, like, Ash, like, he even agrees. He even relates to me. That's what I meant to say. He relates to me on getting yelled at and getting shushed. You know, so we actually have a lot of the same struggles. One struggle that I do deal with that he doesn't deal with, as far as I know, is learning disabilities, you know. He doesn't have learning disabilities, I don't think. At least I don't think so, but, like, unlike me and Purple Ethan, which we do. But he does relate to me on a lot of other stuff. It's possible that he's neurodivergent, but it's also possible for neurotypical people to be relatable. You know, a lot of you know, I'm not trying to, like, you know, be rude here, but it does seem like a lot of neurotypical people can be insensitive and, you know, they seem to misunderstand us a lot. But some neurotypical people can be respectful and relatable to our condition. And if Ash is neurotypical, then he's one of the exceptions that is respectful and relatable. Because he can do like a lot of things that I can't do, despite being younger than me. He can cook, he can play an instrument. He's very lucky to be able to do all those things, especially at such a young age. Autism isn't the same for everyone. And even being neurodivergent, because neurodivergent people can, have their struggles as well. Even ones that are in common with neurotypical people. Or wait, yeah, neurotypical people can have their struggles too, even ones that are in common with neurodivergent people. That's what I meant to say. As for autism, well, a lot of people who are on the spectrum are relatable as hell. Some people on the spectrum are very different to each other. So, I'm not going to necessarily say that all people on the spectrum are relatable because, some of them are, because, it's not the same for everyone. That's something that people need to keep in mind. Being on the spectrum isn't the same for everyone, For some people, it's more mild. For some people, it's more severe. For some people have certain struggles that other people don't have. So people can vary greatly, when it comes to being on the spectrum. For the most part, people are relatable and laid back, but some of them don't have that. There's this fricktard that Purple Ethan used to be really good friends with. I was kind of friends with her as well, but I wasn't as close to her as Purple Ethan was. Her name is Lucy. She's on the spectrum, but despite this, she's not really relatable and laid back. She's very serious and Karen-ish, actually. And she overblows COVID. Now, don't get me wrong. I know COVID can be a very serious thing and whatnot, but she makes it overblown and, she's a rabid pro-masker as well. I get that COVID is still a thing, but at the same time, we need to move on. I feel like we need to kind of move on a little bit. We need to get on with our normal lives. We still need to do things that help prevent catching and spreading the virus, like taking vitamins, keeping clean, stuff like that. And I'm not saying people should be forced to do this, but another thing that could help is, of course, getting vaccinated. But Lucy, she just takes it too far. She overblows it and shits on anti-maskers. Now, don't get me wrong. If people want to wear a mask, if people, feel safer wearing a mask, that's completely fine, but shitting on people for being anti-maskers is going too far. You know, I cannot stand rabid pro-maskers. They are two of my least... They are one of my least favorite kind of people in this world. And Lucy is one of them. She also, for some reason, hates billionaires and cops. You know, not all billionaires are bad and not all cops are bad. Yeah, she's a fricktard. I'm glad Ethan made the right decision to unfriend her. So yeah, not all autistic people are nice and relatable. Some of them are fricktards like Lucy. But most of you guys, you know, if not all of you guys, you know, Steve, Dale, Daniel, I think Jaden Mayo has autism. Of course, Purple Ethan. You know, Blake, Tyrese. You know, etc., 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 etc. I don't know if I missed any names, but I know a lot of the YouTubers I watch have autism. And you guys are some of the most nicest and relatable people in the world. And I fucking thank you guys for that, because, you know, it's just such a comforting feeling. Like, it's one of the best feelings in the world, truly. Having people to relate to. Like, it just feels so beautiful and wonderful and satisfying. I apologize if I missed any names. You know. Not everyone I list is, you know. There are some people that I didn't list is also relatable. I just don't like list everyone, but even if I didn't list you, you're probably included in the list of relatable, friendly, nice people. Oh yeah, Benjamin's another one. He's another person who's relatable as hell. Benjamin Goodman. That's not his real name. He just likes the character from SML. So we just call him Benjamin Goodman. Since some people may not feel comfortable revealing their actual names, so they just kind of go by an alias. Which, you know, a lot of us don't mind revealing our actual names, but at the same time, I can understand that. Some people rather go by an alias or a favorite character. Alright, hold on. I gotta redo the sauce wings. I put it at 6 instead of 9. Yeah, the sauce station is my least favorite station. Any other timing stations can be a bit stressful. But yeah, something else that I have that Purple Ethan and Benjamin Goodman has is neurofibromatosis type 1. You know, all 3 of us have neurofibromatosis type 1. And, you know, that's actually... I'm not sure if Benjamin Goodman has autism. But I think he either has autism or, you know, Asperger's. Which Asperger's is technically a mild form of autism. I wouldn't doubt it if he does. And it's quite possible for Asperger or, you know, autism and neurofibromatosis to be linked together. I wouldn't doubt it if it is. Ah, there we freaking go. There we go. Much better. Yeah, my dad's talking to someone outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that. He came back. You know something? I would love to write a book about autism. I might actually do that after if I can get the first book I'm writing published. Which that one's about understanding attraction towards fictional characters, because that's something else that's misunderstood. But if I can get that one published, then I'm gonna definitely try to write a book about being on the spectrum. Because it's still misunderstood, you know? It's something that still needs understanding. And like I said before, yeah, our condition can come with a struggle, guys, but we should not let that defeat us. Even if we have a hard time doing certain things. Hell, not being able to do certain things at all. Even, like, you know, there are still things that we can do. And hell, like, some people who are on the spectrum have been known to be, like, gifted in certain things. For me, I believe that's writing, because I just love to write, and I've been told that I'm a good writer, you know. That's probably my calling. Alright, I'm going to end it after this episode, because number one, you know, we're about to get into Onion Fest. This will be the last day before Onion Fest, so it'll be a good time to end it here so we can begin episode 2 with Onion Fest. And, number 2, my dad started playing the drums, and I don't want that to disrupt us, so once I get this off to Sandra, I'll end this. You know, I may make Mantan's skin a little bit darker because he's not that light. He's not, like, tan, but at the same time, he's not, like, white. Ugh. Go away, JoJo's Burger Match. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Alright, guys, that'll be it for this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.